Haley finally lands his first victory in NASCAR's K&N Series. The Southern Modifieds get back on track this weekend in the South, while the Northern Modifieds have tested at Thompson's High Banks last weekend. And we talked to a 10-time Thompson winner. Welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. For Wednesday, March 30th, 2016, Kyle Rickey joined by Buddy Long, fresh from a little short track weekend of our own while the National Series of NASCAR were off. Here at the Motor Racing Network, we got to travel down to Greenville-Pickens Speedway in South Carolina, see some K&N action.
Yeah, always a great time to go down there and see one of the most historic racetracks in NASCAR history. And, you know, you can look at it in a variety of different ways. You know, it's so abrasive, it's got very little banking, and it takes a lot for a driver to get around another one. But what a great learning tool for so many of these young drivers to learn patience, to learn tire management, to learn so many things from such a fabled old short track. And it was a lot of fun Saturday evening. A
lot of young drivers learning tire management. I don't know when the last time that place was paved, probably before I was born, but it's an old surface. It really is, and to only get 2 sets of tires for the race, you have to have them last for 75 laps. 2 years ago, they went the whole distance on 1 set of tires, and they were crawling around that racetrack. So the official said, all right, we'll give you a set of tires at halfway, and it really has helped.
Yeah, it did indeed, and I can't imagine having 1 set of tires for an entire 150-lap event after what we saw the first 75. Then, too, in that first 75, if you know you got that set coming at the halfway break, you're going to be a little bit more aggressive, as drivers like Hunter Bays, Harrison Burton, and a couple of others had to do from the tail end of the field, but still showed, you know, you really have to be on top of your game qualifying-wise with a very even field that we have as far as competition is concerned.
The major tire wear that we saw was from, I think, drivers trying to stay on the lead lap. You know, as we creeped into lap 75, there were some big guns just in front of the race leader, and I think we mentioned it in the booth because we were doing PA for the event that hey, if you got the rubber and you've been saving it, use it now because you know staying on the lead lap is far more critical than tire management at that point of the event.
Yeah, and one of the more interesting passes that we saw was with lap traffic when John Holloman IV was about to go a lap down. Kyle Benjamin had been leading, and even as a leader trying to figure out which way to go with this driver and what was left as far as his tires were concerned as well. And Justin Haley made a very good move down to the bottom of the racetrack, made it a great 3-wide battle, but those two continued to go back and forth, and it was interesting to watch in the second half of the race. I wouldn't say the games or just the strategies being played out, because at points you saw Kyle Benjamin ease away. Then all of a sudden here came JJ back, or whether Kyle fell back to him or what. Challenges were made, bids were made. Sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't, but just a constant back and forth. And in the end, Justin Haley finally got that victory he's been looking for a while.
Finally, after being so close last year at the Phoenix International Raceway, had a tire go down while leading, coming to the white flag. Picked up the win on Saturday night at the Greenville-Pickens Speedway over Kyle Benjamin, Ronnie Bassett Jr., Spencer Davis, and Dylan Bassett, finally cracking the top 20 for the first time this year with a top 5 finish. You see the rest of the top 10 there. Reed Wilson, a good run, along with West Coaster Noah Gregson. Tyler Dipple, the Mobile winner, finished in 8th. Kaz Gralla, 9th. Some news on Kaz coming up in a bit. And Hunter Bays rounding out the top 10. Good field of cars, good-looking field of cars. Quick race, just I think 1 caution. Dominique Van Weringen, the only spinner of the event.
Yeah, spun off of turn number 2. Everybody was able to avoid contact. But when you look at that top 10, very impressive. You mentioned Dylan Bassett. He had finished in the 20s the first 2 events, way down in the series points. We know that's not indicative of the talent he has after winning the Motordrome a year ago. Reed Wilson, right behind him, a name that we haven't heard that much of, having a very good 6th-place run. Noah Gregson obviously doing very well. But I mentioned Hunter Bays. He was another driver that did not have a good qualifying run for the H. Scott Motorsports team with Justin Marks, and he was one of the few we could see little by little making moves in the back of the pack and slowly working his way up into that top 10. It was a hard-earned effort for him.
Absolutely, it was. The race winner was Justin Haley. He'll join us here in a little bit on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Won the Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet 150, his first career win, and we'll talk to him coming up in a little bit. What is he, just 16 years old, I believe? He's a young one.
Is he 16?
I think he's 16 now.
Okay. Did he have a birthday since we saw him? Because I swore he was 15.
He's young. He's really young. We'll talk to him coming up in a little bit. Also going to talk to Ted Christopher. The NASCAR Whelen Southern Modifieds, of course, rained out 2 weeks ago at the Concord Speedway, so they'll run this weekend. The last time those Modifieds ran at that racetrack was, I believe, 2009. So 6-7 years ago now, and Teddy was the last driver to visit victory lane there. So we'll talk to him about that and what his plans may or may not be up north.
Yeah, absolutely. Waiting patiently for an opportunity, and we'll see what happens for the icebreaker coming up here in the next week or so. We see that Ryan Preece now, by virtue of the rain out, has the opportunity to run this weekend coming up at Concord Speedway. So he obviously could run a couple of weeks ago when it was rained out because of his Xfinity Series commitment. So look out for him. I think we lost maybe Rowan Pennick.
Is Rowan not coming back?
I didn't see him on the entry list, the revised one. So unfortunately, we lost him, but when you have Preece in the field, look out.
It's going to be fun this Saturday evening at Concord Speedway here just up the road from Motor Racing Network in Concord, North Carolina. Jeff Fuller is also going to join us, one of our historic figures of modified racing, and we're going to try to talk to one a month, whether it be from the Modifieds or the K&N Series or the Whelen All-American Series. Jeff is going to join us, a 2-time Icebreaker winner, a 10-time Thompson winner. He's got some experience in the Modifieds, a former champion as well.
Yeah, 1992 champion. He and his brother Rick, of course, were mainstays on that series for many years. So many different family traditions, with the Bouchards. They were a big part of it for many, many years. But I was a big Jeff Fuller fan back in the day. I mean, I was a Richie Evans fan for the most part, but when Jeff came onto the scene, I was a big fan of his and the different rides that he had over the course of his career.
And Jeff Fuller came on the scene, and I want to talk to him about this because you mentioned Richie Evans. The very first modified tour race was at Thompson in 1985, and Richie Evans won it. Guess who finished second?
Jeff Fuller.
Yeah, there you go. So
took me a minute. Sorry.
It'd be cool to see the difference from his take, the difference of modified racing from 1984 when it was open. You go anywhere, and every race counted points, and people were going different directions, versus the tour type format that we know today, and just how things changed just between that off season.
Yeah,
so.
Be good to pick his brain. I think the last race he ran was one in 2008, and that was the last time we saw him on the tour. So will be interesting to see what he's been up to these last several years. And again, like you said, his thoughts on the program and how it looks now compared to then.
Absolutely. There was some racing over the weekend. Not a lot. There was a couple of rainouts as well. We had a couple of local divisions at the Greenville Pickens Speedway.
Now, which class did you like doing? Would you have rather done the 4-cylinders and the Renegades, or did you have fun doing the Renegades?
I had fun doing the Renegades.
Okay.
That's the class I did, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you did Renegades.
It was fun.
Yeah, we had fun with it too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did. And good fields of cars,
They were.
About 15, 16 cars in each division, so good field. Late models, unfortunately, not on hand that night. They'll be back in action in a couple of weeks. The limited late models will headline the program this Saturday night at Greenville Pickens Speedway.
Chad Fincham got back into victory lane. I know he has been doing some part-time racing, I think last year a little bit, but Kingsport Speedway, they got rained out on their season opener. Chad came away with the win. Defending champion Ronnie McCarty was second, with Crest Van Dyke third. Good field of cars, about 19 that were on hand for that event. And, of course, in a few weeks, Lonesome Pine Speedway in Coburn, Virginia, one of their teammates, really, for a lot of the drivers that are running for that championship, will be opening up, so we'll look forward to that as well.
And I understand from a little birdie that we'll be hearing a lot from Chad Fincham here in 2016, not just in his late model program at Kingsport, but in other series across the NASCAR realm.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
We'll probably have more on that on the show next week as the NASCAR K&N East Series looks to Bristol Motor Speedway in a couple of weeks from now. The driver that we had on the show last week went to victory lane, Scott Gaffarini. No surprise there. Picking up right where he left off at the Bull Ring at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, 62nd career victory for that driver. All-time victory in the late model competition. Chris Klein, David Anderson, the top three. Grand American Mods went to Peyton Saxton. The NASCAR Bombers to Sam Jacks. Joe, let's see, DiGavera? Would you say DiGavera?
Yeah.
All right, I'll try Joe DiGavera. Superstock winner.
Yep.
Now, if I get a phone call from Joe DiGavera from Las Vegas, I'm going to be in trouble. But, no, good season opener for the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. We look forward to their results all throughout the year and see if anybody has anything for Scott Gaffarini this season.
Right now, I say no.
Yes.
Tracks off this week. They're back in action Saturday, April 9th, and they will feature the Spears Southwest Tour plus a full complement of the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series divisions. And
yeah, Caraway got rained out,
did.
and when I looked at their schedule, and I'd mentioned it to you earlier in the year, and I guess I was looking on a different site, not there specifically, but I think the site I was looking at honed in on just the late model stock car schedule which is very limited. But they are running every week pretty much. But the late models now looks like they're not on until May 28th. It's going to be a big break for those drivers before they're back on. And unfortunately, New Smyrna, they got rained out again, I believe.
I believe
so.
Right.
They'll try again this weekend as well.
And let's see. Hickory ran, but it was a non-NASCAR sanctioned event. It was pretty much the Pro All-Star Series and their super late model and modified divisions. And I think that might be about it. But this weekend, we got a bunch of tracks opening up. I think I counted 8.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll touch on that in a second. Thomas Tillison, winner at Salinas High Banks. He won the A-Mod, so he's off to a good start.
That's right. They opened up this past weekend as well. Justin Haley went to victory lane for the first time this past weekend at Greenville Pickens Speedway in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East race. We'll talk with him after the break.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
O'Reilly. If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Steve Letarte for STP. As a former crew chief, I know about winning and what it takes to keep your engine performing at its best. That's why I recommend STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner. STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner is STP's most advanced fuel additive. It's been formulated to help remove harmful deposits from intake valves and restore fuel injector performance. For more than 60 years, STP products have proven themselves mile after mile. Take it from me, if you want to go with the winner, go with STP. In for the long haul.
If you haven't checked out MRN.com's exclusive online programming, you've missed a lot. MRN Motorsports Monday. Review and preview the NASCAR weekends. Winged Nation talk winged sprint cars. The latest from the NHRA. On the straight line. Dirt, late model, modified, and big block modified talk. Slinging dirt. NASCAR regional, local, and international series on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Exclusive original online motorsports talk on MRN.com.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Sarah Cornett-Jing, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented. What's that?
Well, no, I just remember though she did. We were doing liners this weekend at
Yeah.
Greenville Pickens, and she always said, "And buddy," she put the little emphasis on it, but
Added her little personality.
Yeah, good kid. Really like her, and I think she'll have a very good season. One of 3 females on the K&N Pro Series East, and really enjoyed talking to everybody down there this past weekend. It was really fun.
Including Justin Haley, who was a part of the conversation.
Guess.
Or is it JJ? No, it's Justin.
Well, we'll let him. Are we going to let him decide?
We will.
JJ finished 6th in points last year, so I'm thinking he changed his name because
he wants to be higher.
He wants to be higher than
Absolutely. Justin, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. It was good seeing you over the weekend at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Congratulations on the win. Finally getting that first K&N East win and West win. You were close at the West Series last year, but that first K&N win on Saturday night.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I guess if you do pad in points one year, you just got to change your name and hope for the best.
Here we go. No, it seemed like a good time. Kyle and I were just alluding to that, just walking through the pit area with you guys and chatting with so many. And for racers that are going out there for just their 3rd race of the season, I know you were around last year and you've got some other experience. The mood just seems to be so laid back with everybody. I mean, I know it's a lot of very young talent that's out there, but it just doesn't seem like if there's any pressure for you guys that you're showing it, you're having a lot of good time and fun with each other even before you strap in the race car.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's a pretty fun time. All of us young kids realize that we're living our dreams, and we're thankful to be where we are. But there's definitely a lot of pressure going into every race, and I feel like, A-Scout with Justin Marks is by far the best team, and being with you, being with them is, added pressure to, succeed with them. So I guess we're just not very good at showing our ourselves and the pressure-wise.
Talk about the race on Saturday night. Obviously, tire conservation was the big key to that event, but for the most part, at the front of the field, it was you and Kyle Benjamin swapping the lead a couple of different times. What more did you have at the end of the race that Kyle didn't that allowed you to get to victory lane?
Yeah, so I like how Greenville is, such a rough track, and the characteristic of it is, just so old, abrasive pavement. And the K&N series does a great job by breaking it down into two segments, and we just kind of used the first 75 laps as a judge to see how far I could, really run the car, and I just ran it a little too hard there in the first 75 laps, and that gave me a really good idea for how I needed to be better than Kyle at the end of the last 75 laps. So we just conserved our tires a little better there at the last section of the race, and obviously it paid off.
Well, and I was saying patience is another big tool, a learning tool that you guys have to process when you're at Greenville Pickens, when to make the move, when you have that ability to do it. Pretty interesting move in that first half, though, the good three-wide battle when John Hullum and the lap car was coming up. Kyle was trying to figure out which way to go and made a pretty dicey move down to the inside to make a good passing move, the lead with a three-wide battle.
Yeah, I wish I would have saved my tires a little better the first section of the race because we would have held off Kyle. But I just wanted that inside because I knew the halfway break was coming up, and the inside on a short track like that is so big. So I was willing to take a little bit of a risk. Nothing too major, but I just wanted to be on the inside there, past the halfway break, and it just didn't quite work out. But we were patient in the second half, and I knew we had a better car than him the last 3 laps of the race. It was just timing and how many laps we could hold him off for because it's going to get pretty aggressive down at the end of the race, and, we just wanted to time it right.
I know you want to win every race, but after what happened at Phoenix last year, how important was it to get this win early in the season to kind of officially put Phoenix behind you? Maybe it'll be easier to forget about that race now last fall.
Yeah, Phoenix was such a heartbreak. I've never been that dominant before in a race, and then just see it all go with 6 laps remaining due to, just a little rivet, I picked up on the track. So getting the confidence back up after that was a really, really good thing. I know we had the speed. We just had to finish it off.
Speaking of dominance, the last 2 or 3 years we've had dominant drivers, whether it be Dylan Kwasniewski, Ben Rhodes, and even William Byron, and a common theme with all 3 of those, of course, H. Scott Motorsports drivers. But when you look at the field, and we looked at the results and the eventual finish, Kyle Benjamin, not sure if he's going to be able to run the full-time schedule. Looks like he had scheduled himself for 7 races. He was just 3rd in points. Ronnie Bassett Jr. was 4th. They both had good top 5 runs. There's a lot of parity that seems to be developing, albeit in 3 races. But do you see a clear-cut driver that can do what a Ben Rhodes or a William Byron has done the last couple of years and string together quite a few victories during the course of the season and be that breakout driver? Or does it look like what you've seen these first 3 weeks, pretty much what you may see the entire season with a very level field?
Yeah, I definitely think that the K&N Pro Series East has, really come up with a great roster for the 2016 season. There's so many great teams and so many good drivers that, we would be fortunate enough to, break out and win, a number of races just based on the talent and, the level of, performance of the field. So I definitely feel like it's, quite an even playing field. Everyone's got speed. It's just who's got the most luck. So definitely it would be really, really great for us to go break out. But for now, we're just going to focus on having great finishes.
After 3 races, the top 5 in the championship standings separated by just 9 points. Spencer Davis, the leader, by 3 over Kyle Benjamin. Then yourself, 3rd in points, just 4 points out of the lead. Tyler Dipple 5 back in 4th, and then Ronnie Bassett rounding out the top 5. Heading to the Bristol Motor Speedway in a couple of weeks. What do you know about that half mile, and do you enjoy racing on the Bristol High Banks? Obviously a much different racetrack from what you just came off of at Greenville Pickens.
Yeah, so I think we've all heard of Winchester Speedway up in Indiana. That was my home track for a number of years. So I'm pretty used to the level of banking that Bristol has, and I enjoy Bristol quite a bit. We ran there last year in the K&N Series and qualified 5th and ran real well, and then I made my truck debut there last year. So I definitely have a level of confidence there that I feel like will be a little better than some other people, and we're just going to have to take what we learned last year and reuse it this year.
Sounds like it's going to be a very huge car count and entry list that should be coming out very shortly for the Bristol event here in just a couple of weekends. Getting back a little bit, Justin, when we were talking about the youth in the sport, obviously in your own team, I'm sure there are veterans, whether it be a crew chief, a car chief, or people on your crew that you kind of rely on, you look up to with that veteran leadership that can give you some good feedback on the different tracks that you go to. With such a young crowd of drivers that you have, are there any other drivers out there that you kind of lean on a little bit too that may have a little bit of experience or knowledge that you find that you chat with a little bit more often than others?
Definitely last year I leaned on Scott Heckert quite a bit. He was a veteran of the A-Scott with Justin Mark's team, and my driver coach / spotter is Michael Self, so he's got a number of wins under his belt in the K&N series, and he's really talented, and just helps me out with all he can, and I'm fortunate enough to have him on my team and the experience he has.
And now you're the veteran of the team. Has that added any pressure since I think you're the only returnee from a year ago?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions that sometimes I don't know how to answer, but I definitely try my best, and hopefully we can get the H. Scott with Justin Marsh cars up there in the points like we did last year, and hopefully dominate the series again.
Well, working on some very good notes at Greenville Pickens. You guys have had the corner on the market, and as we mentioned, I think down there on Saturday, the past three drivers that have won at Greenville Pickens have also gone on to win the championship, so you put yourself in a pretty good position. In addition to your K&N schedule, anything else that's on your schedule for the 2016 racing season?
Yeah, we're looking at around 7 truck races and a little under 10 ARCA races. Then I'm also running the full Trans Am series over there and the road course side of things for the sports cars, and then also the K&N series. So I'm running for 2 championships and a handful of truck and ARCA races.
Yeah, other than that, there's not much going on.
No.
So talk about the next race for you this weekend, the Martinsville Speedway. What an entry list it is. A good combination of K&N champions from the last few years with William Byron and Ben Rhodes. You throw in Timothy Peters and Matt Crafton and Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. The Decker girls, all 3 of them running the event this weekend. And, of course, you're in competition as well with your team. You excited about getting to the Martinsville Speedway, and especially coming off a win? You know, you talk about confidence a moment ago. That was probably going to help your confidence this weekend in 250 laps at the Martinsville Speedway Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that the majority of my K&N team is also my truck team. So all together as a team, we'll have more confidence. And, definitely looking at the entry list makes you nervous, and just excited to be there, but it's definitely going to be a lot of pressure, and I'm definitely going to be nervous about all the competition, but it's really cool to race some of my childhood heroes, and I feel like we're going back to Martinsville with a better package than we did last year, but we're definitely going to use the notes we had last year and hopefully improve.
Well, the paperclip of Martinsville to the high-banked, short track that runs like a super speedway, Bristol Motor Speedway,
yeah.
From the trucks to the K&N East and all the things that you mentioned a few moments ago. In that mix includes several road course events. You looking forward to heading back to the road courses this year as well?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going back to the road courses. They're definitely my favorite. It just provides a new challenge to the team and to the drivers. So I feel like there's a lot more you can get out of a car at a road course, a lot more opportunities to gain speed. So I'm definitely looking forward to all 3 K&N races, and it's pretty cool that they added one at New Jersey Motorsports Park this year.
So we joke coming on into this interview about Justin/JJ. Last year I asked you, part of our Off the Wall program, what your pet peeve was, and you said people get me confused with JJ Yaley and Cameron Haley, and was part of the name change because of the similarities between JJ Yaley and JJ Haley?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, a part of it. Another part of it was just a lot more marketable and a lot more professional sounding. But the thing I did not expect about with this name change is you don't know how many people think that I'm JJ Haley's brother. It is unreal.
Unbelievable. Well, you know, one of the drivers we talked about in addition to you with the H. Scott Stables was Hunter Bays. He had a very good run. Had a rough qualifying effort, but eventually got up into the top 10, finishing in 10th. Tyler Dipple, the most recent winner, and another teammate who won in Mobile, did very well. When you came back to the shop, or when you eventually got back together with your teammates this week after the Greenville Pickens event, pretty good deal amongst you guys as far as the attaboys that were handed out and just the pats on the back?
Yeah, so, you know, throughout the weekend, it showed that me and Bays' cars were, you know, about the best, and they shot stable, long run-wise. Just Dipple and Burton were struggling a little bit, and, you know, we were all more than happy to help them and, you know, share our setups. And, you know, we didn't do as well as we wanted to as a team, but, you know, we'll just keep improving and, you know, just keep working forward, and hopefully, you know, later on in the season we'll get back to dominating the series like we have been the past few years.
I'm sure all 4 cars will be up there sooner rather than later in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East from the H. Scott Motorsports with Justin Mark Stable. Justin, congratulations again on the win, finally getting that first win, and we'll see you in just a couple of days at the Martinsville Speedway.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Justin Haley joining us here, the most recent winner of the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East, the Kevin Whitaker Chevrolet 150 this past Saturday at Greenville Pickens Speedway. When we come back, we're going to preview the NASCAR Southern Modified race this weekend at Concord Speedway here in North Carolina. Ted Christopher joins us after the break.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
Be the winner of your next family dinner. Choose Creekstone Farms Premium Black Angus Beef, proud sponsor of MRN. Act fast, because while supplies last, you can get 2 delicious beef brisket flats for just $79.99. That's a savings of almost $30. Plus, receive free shipping with your online order of $100 or more. No coupon code required. Get first place taste with our superior quality beef and pork products, all raised and grazed in the USA. Visit us today at creekstonefarms.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
Stay up to date with the latest news from the NASCAR Garage weekdays on NASCAR Today, midday.
We can enhance the fans' experience, and I think that's what we really need to zero in on and provide.
Hear from the drivers and teams as they chase the 2016 championship trophy.
Change is good in our sport. It re-energizes people, makes everybody, step up to the plate, so to speak.
NASCAR Today, midday, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network, your source for NASCAR news.
This is NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver Doug Colby, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. Doug, on track this past weekend, one of many modifieds up at the Thompson Speedway, taking advantage of an open test session, gearing up for the icebreaker next week.
On track, an understatement for him at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. Didn't he sweep? It was a sweep last year for him. That's really tough to do. And when you look at some of the changes that happened in the offseason, some of the teams that have changed their directions, he's one of the few that stayed together. And it's like, oh, gosh, the competition's looking at he's going to be the one to beat. You got to get him off that top spot first, and it starts at Thompson.
And hoping to be on track next week will be Ted Christopher, who joins us now on the guest line. But first, let's talk about Concord this week. Running the NASCAR Southern Modified Tour season opener. Last time that series raced there 7 years ago now, 2009.
Stop trying to do math.
Man, time flies. Was Ted Christopher in Victory Lane. And Teddy, ready to get back at it this weekend down here in the South and get back to Victory Lane at Concord?
I'd love to. Hopefully the weather is going to be good this weekend. I have looked ahead. It looks like it's going to be good for Saturday,
Yeah, you should be good. I think late Thursday or afternoon into Friday, but I think the weekend's looking pretty sharp. But we've had a chance to talk to a few different drivers. Burt Myers, the recent winner at Caraway Speedway in the Whelen Southern Modified Tour, and his thoughts of Concord Speedway. Obviously, he got the pole the last time the tour was there. But take us on a lap around that racetrack. I was still just in total awe for a short track like Concord, as wild as it is, for him to have an average speed of 118 miles an hour. That was absolutely incredible.
Is that what it is there? Really?
I believe so.
118.
No kidding.
So the backstretch at Concord, bowed out. How fast is it, and how difficult is it getting through the backstretch of the Concord Speedway? I've seen a lot of big wrecks there because if somebody lifts, it can cause a big problem in a hurry for a lot of guys behind them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been fortunate each time I've been there. It's like I love going through the dogleg. I think that place is, like I've told people, probably has the most speed sensation of any racetrack I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot of places. Yeah, that place is fun when you get it right, and I've had some good cars there, so I'm really looking forward to Saturday back there.
Well, it's always fun as we get to the beginning of the Whelen Southern Modified Tour season because the Whelen Modified Tour hasn't kicked into gear, so we always have the luxury of seeing in the past a Ryan Preece. A couple of weekends ago, it would have been Rowan Penick as well as yourself. But what led to the decision for you guys to make the run down at Concord a couple of weeks ago and now make the return back?
I really like that place, and I probably would have gone to the opener at Caraway, but I've just been so busy here, and it's hard to get everything coordinated to go back and forth, because I'm up here, and flights and everybody that helps on the crew is a hard deal to get going. So everybody wanted to go to Concord, and I really like there. It's a little bit, it's definitely easier to go there because flights in and out of Charlotte are easier. I have a place to stay if I go down there. I still have a bunch of friends down there that live down there, and they offer their house if I want to stay there. So it's free room. You don't have to worry about getting a motel. There's a lot better places to eat around there than in Caraway. There's nothing out at Caraway. I like the track. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing around it.
It's important. That's an important part of the weekend.
You have to shoot your dinner if you're out of Caraway.
Or hit it. How many Southern trips should we expect for you this year? I know I'm sure you're still trying to button things up in the north as well with that season coming up in just over a week from now.
Yeah, I don't really know. We'll probably go to the end of the year back at we were scheduled to go there last year for the north-south shootout, and everything sort of fell through there, so we didn't go. But I think we're going to try to plan to go back in for that. I don't know if there's any other races that I'll hit up during the year. Like I said, the bad part is, I was supposed to fly last time. You cancel your flight and rebook it, and the airlines aren't too. They're not too cooperative with you on that deal. It costs a lot of money to keep doing that. So. I'd love to race more, but the logistic part is the hard part. And usually that car comes back up here where we race, be it Tri-Track Series races or True Value Series races at Waterford, Stafford, and some other places around here. So the car probably won't be down there after this race we run this weekend. It'll be up here.
Stop number 2 for the tour. They have a couple of more before they take that long break before the 4th of July weekend and kick back into the balance of their schedule. When we look at your stats in the NASCAR Whelen Southern Modified Tour over the course of history, quite a few starts, 6 victories. Is the Concord race the one that stands out the most, or of those other 5, which ones also are pretty spectacular for you?
I think one of the best ones was probably at South Boston, which, that was one we looked at we might go to, down, which is coming up, because qualifying got rained out and I had to start last there, and I ended up winning from last. So it's always fun when you win from there. And there were only 3 of us there. Scott, the guy who works in the car, which is such a great helping hand on the thing and all, and then me driving it and the spotter. That's all we had.
And took it to victory lane.
I never forget looking on pit wall. We're ready to start the race. I'm looking over, and there's Scott standing on the wall. And I'm saying, boy, I hope I don't have to pit for anything. It's going to be a little short pit stop. It's going to be a long pit stop here.
Exactly, because it reminds me of years ago, what was it, Morgan Shepherd?
Yeah.
In an Xfinity Series race who actually got out of the car and helped his crew change a tire. So I'm thinking, wouldn't doubt Teddy has to get out of the car and change.
And, luckily we didn't have to pit, and we had a great car there, and ended up winning. That was really good. So any of the races you run down south are always fun. Anytime you win is fun.
Absolutely. 18 starts in the South, and Buddy mentioned 6 wins, 361 starts on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. What is your status for the season up there, if anything? Is there any potential breaking news as far as if we'll see you at Thompson next week?
I'll probably be at Thompson, but I don't know if it'll be in a tour car or not.
Okay.
Right now, the only thing I have as an option is if Bob Garbarino, who he picks for a driver. I'm on probably the short list of drivers that he's going to pick or whatever. But I don't think I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. Probably not, I'd say.
Somebody tell Bob the season starts in like 7 days or 9 days.
Yeah, got to be more optimistic, man. I mean, it would be.
If he calls me, he'll probably call me on Saturday and want me to bring my seat down, and I'll be like, well, I'm in my seat, and I'm in North Carolina.
Well, we certainly hope to not only see you, but also that Mystic Missile. That has been both of you mainstays on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour for many, many years, and it's been great to watch you. Aside from the tour, I know you mentioned some other things. We've seen you doing some weekly shows over the years at Thompson, maybe catching the Stafford. As far as some weekly stuff, the SK side, do we have anything that's firmed up for that as well?
Yep, we're going to run the same stuff that we ran at Waterford last year. We had a great season there, with a bunch of wins, and that team's back together again with, me as a driver and stuff. We've been together probably like 5 years now. It's a great organization to race with. The Pisa brothers bring a good car, and we have a lot of fun at Waterford, and we were really successful there last year. And I built the same exact type of car that they run at Waterford or Stafford this year for a new car because we had a tough year there last year, but hopefully we can get back into the groove and win some races at Stafford and hopefully win another championship there. So those two, venues are definitely on the schedule Friday night and Saturday night. And if anything else happens with the tour, then I would just not run as much at Waterford.
Finished third in the SK points last year at the Waterford Speed Bowl. Obviously, new management with a new owner and Bruce Beamer, new promoter and former competitor there, Sean Monahan. How would you kind of grade the first year of racing there under the new ownership?
Oh, they did a tremendous job. Sean did a great job. It's a tough job to do. I talked to him a lot about it. And besides running his own business, so there's a lot of time involvement for him. But they did a great job. Bruce Beamer's a great owner now for the facility. He's got a good enough backing as far as money goes to do things that he wants there. He's put some walls all the way around it, took the Armco out. There's talk of him possibly putting safer barriers in the future in the turns there, which would definitely be nice as far as the driver goes. And just a real good facility. You can definitely see it's changed a lot. Food's better, facilities better, atmosphere's better, more car. There's more car counts. They got up to a lot better car counts on a lot of divisions towards the end of the year, and I'd say this year probably looks even better for them. Yeah,
you would think so because last year, obviously, they didn't know until deep into the off season as to whether it was going to be a racetrack or not. And this is an off season where they've had that chance to make a lot of off season improvements and do some of the things they would have liked to have done in the previous year. One of the clips that we're showing here, some of the pictures of you, is one of them with an autograph session, which I always think is so very cool when you go to some of the short tracks up in New England. You have had a great career in modified racing, and I've got to believe been so well embraced by so many fans. Is that one of the best parts of your weekend at a racetrack?
Yeah, it is. I should probably do my own T-shirts and stuff because there's so many people that ask for it, and I just haven't been able to do it. It's hard when you have your own business and try to run this and coordinate all your other rates and stuff that goes on. But yeah, the autograph session's great. The fans are always good. I definitely sign a lot of autographs. You don't realize how many people you have until you start signing autographs, how many fans are out there.
T-shirts are big. I got to admit, I have a collection myself of short track T-shirts that I wear when I go to the races, so I would definitely pick one up. Your thoughts overall, the health of modified racing up there in New England? It seems like there's a lot more options now for teams and drivers to choose from than, say, 15 or 20 years ago. Seems like the cars are still around. There's just a lot more places for teams to choose to go and race. Do you see much of the same?
Yeah, you do. There's other people that have started series and stuff, be it here in Connecticut or, up in northern New England, or you see it in New York State. There's sort of nobody's quite sure, I think, what's going on. Say like the ROC, they've had a little bit of problem there and stuff, but there are different avenues to go race, which is nice. I think the modified tour could definitely do some more as far as paying better, which always needs to be an issue. they have pretty good car counts. We'll see how many car counts, how many cars they have this year at all the races. But the weekly series is really good. Stafford's got a pretty good car count. Waterford has a good car count. Thompson, they've increased their races this year to 10, so I think you'll probably see a few more people racing there. But it's pretty good in New England. There's a lot of modifieds. Sometimes there's too many places to go race them.
That seemed to be what Buddy and I have talked about that a couple of times this year. A lot of options, but the cars are still there.
Right,
so it's just
yes, they are.
So, Teddy, as always, thanks for joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Best of luck to you this weekend at the Concord Speedway. We'll see you down at the racetrack on Saturday.
Oh, great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Anytime.
Ted Christopher joining us, former NASCAR modified champion up north, multi-time track champion at just about all the racetracks that run modifieds in Connecticut, and just an overall good guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to watch him because no matter what ride he gets in, it can be one of the top shelf rides. It can be one of the lesser rides. He gets the most out of a race car, and he's always fun to watch on the track.
Former national champion as well in the NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series, driving a modified at Thompson and Stafford Speedways up in Connecticut. When we come back, another former NASCAR modified champion joins us as our preview of next weekend's Icebreaker continues. A former Icebreaker Modified Tour winner, Jeff Fuller, joins us after the break.
NASCAR Coast to Coast will be right back on MRN.com.
O'Reilly.
Improve visibility and save $8 instantly when you replace your worn wiper blades with a pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get premium blades that ensure clear vision in any weather and save $8 instantly on a pair of Bosch Icon wiper blades at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
MRN On Demand. Listen or watch when you want and where you want. Find all of MRN's original programs in the Media Center at MRN.com, as well as YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Race Day Nation on iHeartRadio. Find NASCAR Live, Motorsports Monday, Winged Nation, NASCAR Coast to Coast, Pod Tracks, Slingin' Dirt, The Inside Line, and The Straight Line. Motorsports programs when you want, where you want. MRN On Demand. Join the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday evening for NASCAR Live. Eli Gold, along with the cast of MRN personalities, will take you into the sport of NASCAR like you've never heard before.
And the intent was right there. There wasn't no, oh, oops, I bumped into him. This was, look out, here I come.
And what would NASCAR be without the fans?
As a fan, it was like, whoa.
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Motor Racing Network.
This is NASCAR K&N Pro Series East driver Colin Cabry, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
All right, thank you very much, Colin. Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. Just talked with one of the drivers that no doubt will be a threat to win this weekend at Concord in Ted Christopher, a driver that was always a threat to win whenever he got in a modified 240 NASCAR Wheelin' Modified Tour starts. Then it was known as the Winston Modified Tour. And then
wow, that's going back.
That's going way back.
I forgot about that.
1985. Then the Featherlight Modified Tour in the mid-1990s, and Jeff Fuller was very much a part of it since the beginning. And Jeff, welcome to NASCAR Coast to Coast. And, how much do you pay attention now, several years after your last start, to what goes on in modified racing up in New England?
I'm not addicted to it like I used to be. I've weaned myself off it, but I obviously still keep up with it, like they're going to be at Concord down here. And I moved down here in '95 with Sunoco, and I still say, those are real race cars. If you hone your skills in a NASCAR modified short track with the open wheels or whatever, you have a lot more respect when you finally get your fenders around you.
Well, and I would have to agree, and I guess, Kyle and I have to put tongue in cheek sometimes because we can be pretty much in that direction as well if we're at a racetrack that's got a variety of different series, and then the modifieds crank up. You're exactly right, Jeff. There's just something about them. I mean, they call them the ground pounders for a reason, and not only when the cars start up in the infield, but when they hit the racetrack, it is some of the best racing you'll ever see.
It definitely is. I mean, I still get fans from New England calling me like, Loudon. And some of these where, drafting in the taxi cabs is obviously with all the aerodynamic dependency and this and that and blah, 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 but the drafting in the modifieds has been around for years. And I listened to your show last week, and he was saying, tap me once, tap me twice, and this and that. That's always been accepted. Like I said, I love modified racing. I love watching them. I love people working their way up, to the ranks and this and that. Like I say, to me, it's real racing.
There is nothing like, and I get to experience it next week, going to Thompson and having 36 modifieds come off turn 4 for that start, coming to the green flag.
Come
and
on, can I fly up with you guys?
Come on. But, that racetrack, it was built, way before, the current modifieds that we know. That track was built in 1940 after the 38 hurricane, but it's like that track was built for modified racing, and it seems like the perfect facility. How special and meaningful is Thompson, since we're previewing the Icebreaker here in just over a week? So let's bring Thompson into the conversation, just to the modified community, not just the racetrack, but I guess I've heard a lot of stories at the clubhouse as well after the races.
It is just like you said. You guys aren't exaggerating at all. I hope they have a good crowd, but Thompson Speed in 1973, I don't even know if you guys were born then.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, though.
I was in the 11th grade, and I was racing my homeroom teacher and beating Cy Allen at Westboro Speedway, which is not there. And then we'd go to Thompson, and that was before they had the walls in there. They had the sandbanks. Well, for the mechanics, it was better, except for the engine guy. But Thompson Speedway, 5/8, good bank, good. It is a fantastic racetrack to run at, and we've been blessed to have a lot of good runs there. The Don Honing and now his grandson and DR and all the people up there have made me feel at home every single time I've gone back. It's a great racetrack.
Getting a look at some of the cars from the past and some of the shots of you in Victory Lane. One of those, I believe, is at Martinsville Speedway, and you're sharing Victory Lane. It looks like with Jay Fogelman and Jimmy Hensley. That just brings back some other great traditions, one of which I would love to see. As great of a tradition in the Northeast as Thompson is, did you enjoy your time down at Martinsville Speedway as well?
Absolutely. We were fortunate enough to get a few grandfather clocks from Martinsville, and again, and Bristol, and I would love to have your guys' job, because you get paid to play. You can go and watch all this stuff and then report on it. And people that haven't been to smell and to actually look and hear. And I went to Bristol for the first time when the modifieds went there as a fan. It's the first time that I've sat in the grandstands. I've always gone in the infield. We were fortunate enough to win a Busch race, Busch back then in '96, the night before my youngest daughter was born. And like I said, I had never sat in the stands, but there is not a bad seat in the stands, and it's just as exciting watching a race as it actually is driving it at some of these tracks you guys get to go to.
Buddy gets to watch the modified race at Bristol from the roof. Right
Yeah,
before
that's
the
pretty
truck
cool.
race.
That is pretty cool.
It's a
Yeah.
You
great.
weren't a spotter, were you?
No, just we're always
as I'm eating my ice cream and hot dog.
No, we're always waiting. Kyle and I are always waiting for a rain delay for the modifieds, just a little bit, long enough so it bleeds into the beginning of our truck broadcast, so we can call a few laps of the modified race, and it just never works for us.
No.
When we work at Bristol on Wednesday night and then the New Hampshire race,
Yeah, New Hampshire.
in the past, we've always been like, oh, let's just give us a few more laps. Just give us a few laps of a broadcast, and I think that would make our year.
Yeah, at least if you can hear it, because they fly around.
Yes, they do. It's absolutely amazing. We had Jerry Cook on the show a couple of weeks ago, former driver and then a NASCAR official that developed what we now know as the NASCAR Modified Tour. Mentioned it was the Winston Modified Tour, then Featherlight. Whelan's come on board in the last decade or so. What was that transition like? 1984, everybody's racing all of these races. There seems like there's hundreds of events that you can get NASCAR points at. And then we come back in 1985 to the Icebreaker, and it's a completely different feel and a completely different way of crowning a champion in the national modified competition.
Mm-hmm. Good and bad points to everything in life. Jerry Cook is a super nice guy. He's done a lot for NASCAR, and I was glad to see him get inducted in the Hall of Fame. In '83, we were going to a lot at Star Speedway up in Epping, New Hampshire, next to the dragster, and we used to run a little tour against the same type of guys that actually came on the NASCAR Modified Tour in '85. And so to me, it wasn't that much different because, I was 28 and think, when you're young, nothing matters. It's like you've got the most talent, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And the older you get, you start realizing that it is a team sport, and you've got to play well with others and this and that all comes with age and maturity. But in '85, it wasn't, to me anyway, it wasn't that big of a transition because we were running short tracks against what I considered that were the best at that time.
This has been a series that just has had so much tradition for so many years, and you mentioned how very happy you were to see Jerry Cook get inducted into the Hall of Fame. But for you, how proud are you when you look at the short period of time that the NASCAR Hall of Fame has been around, and such legends like Richie Evans and Jerry Cook have gotten the recognition and the notoriety from the NASCAR world when there's so many major pioneers well before these two guys that they're trying to catch up on and get into the Hall of Fame? But what does it say to you when you see two of the drivers that you've raced with and have been a big part of the modifieds that are already in that Hall of Fame?
I don't have the words to describe that in the short amount of time that we have, but the only way that you're going to realize, and I didn't even know that, I've got like 3 diehard modified fans that live in my neighborhood. Like I say, I've been here since '95, and they're going to Concord. They go to Bristol. Everywhere where the modifieds run, they got to go and watch them. But they made me go to Ray Evernham's museum down here in Talbot Point, where the same car that I drove at New Smyrna for 9 nights of racing in 1985, February of '85, that Richie wanted me to drive for him, and he got killed at Martinsville in October of '85. But that car was in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and now it's at Ray Evernham's, along with Charlie Jazombek's big-time left-side weight. I met Charlie's brother finally because Charlie and I had a little spat at Stafford way back when my tranny was falling out of fourth. And just like I say, I mean, you can't to look at these cars that we ran back then and to see how NASCAR has incorporated so much more safety and everything. It's almost scary, but no, that's really a cool deal to have people like that that are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's awesome.
240 starts on the tour. The series goes back to where it started at Thompson back in 1985. What do you remember about that first modified tour race? You finished second to Richie Evans.
Again, Richie was the man, and he had a Hutter motor, and I had a Jack Tent motor at the time, and I thought I was a little bit quicker through 1 and 2, and we diced back and forth for the lead and this and that, and I drove a little over my head getting into the corner, pushed him up a little bit too high. But again, that's modified racing. But going down the next straightaway, when he showed me exactly who's got the best motor, I got a little tap from behind and conceded. So that was my first race against Richie, and we hadn't talked for a few months after that. But then we had gotten back on the same page that summer. He was an excellent driver, but you got what you deserved.
And you said you're down here now, right in the South, Jeff?
Yes, I moved to Lake Norman in '95.
I can hear that Southern accent.
Oh, whatever.
I can.
Don't even start with me because you're a damn Yankee.
I am. Yeah, I am. Well, both of us are. But, I remember, I'm from Maryland, so, when I came down here for about a year and went back home, people said, buddy, I can hear that Southern accent that you have. So, I didn't know if you got teased about that or not. Just kidding with you.
No, I get teased because I can't get rid of my Northern accent. Hey, one thing that I have been doing that's very, very exciting, it's almost like I consider myself a scout for up-and-coming talent, is Doug Herbert, who I'm sure you guys are familiar with. He lost his 2 sons in, 2008. And so I had brought my oldest daughter to a brakes school, be responsible and keep everybody safe down at Charlotte Speedway at ZMAX Dragway. And proactive driving for younger drivers when they first get their learner's permit up to 20 years old. They go through this course, and we spin them out and drop 2 wheels in the dirt and have them be very aggressive and tell them no texting and driving, And it's a really, really cool school to attend. But I've been doing that for 7 years now whenever I can. I usually do like 15 or 20 a year on weekends. And like I say, I mean, that to me, that is saving lives.
An absolutely fantastic program. I know we've talked about it a lot here at the Motor Racing Network, especially on our Straight Line show every week with Doug, who co-hosts with Marty Huff. And
does Doug do that?
He does.
I'll tell you what, that guy is my hero. I don't know if something like that happened, how I would get myself out of bed, but he's such an upbeat guy, and his daughter, I'll tell you what, his daughter has got such a feel for a car. She's probably a senior in high school now, Jess, but man, just an awesome program, guys. It really is.
One of the nicest guys, no doubt, you'll ever meet. Jeff, time is short. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Hopefully we'll see you out of the race here pretty soon.
You just may do that. Thank you very much, guys.
Right,
have a great weekend.
Jeff Fuller joining us here on NASCAR Coast to Coast. We're back to preview the upcoming race weekend when we come back.
Coming back with more of NASCAR Coast to Coast, it's Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long right after this.
I'm Steve Letarte for STP. As a former crew chief, I know about winning and what it takes to keep your engine performing at its best. That's why I recommend STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner. STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner is STP's most advanced fuel additive. It's been formulated to help remove harmful deposits from intake valves and restore fuel injector performance. For more than 60 years, STP products have proven themselves mile after mile. Take it from me, if you want to go with a winner, go with STP. In for the long haul.
The grill is hot and the cooler is cold at America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA. Join us each weekend as your host and head chef Rob Tanner serves up the hottest hits and country music, and Steve Post drops by with NASCAR news straight from the sport's top garages and shops. We have 2 hours of country music at the speed of sound, getting you ready for NASCAR racing. Rev up your weekend at America's Tailgate Party, NASCAR USA.
When the smoke settles, the entertainment never stops.
I feel like experience kind of outweighs youth.
On race weekends, your favorite NASCAR personality is an everyday superhero.
Kyle Busch driving for his life right now.
But when they leave the racetrack, they're just like everyone else.
Our lives are so much different than what people may think they are.
I'm Susie Armstrong. Join me on a daily journey as we discuss the hot topics and engaging personalities of NASCAR Nation. Ned Jarrett's World of Racing, weekdays on the Motor Racing Network.
This is NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour driver Ron Silk, and you're listening to NASCAR Coast to Coast on MRN.com. Now back to Kyle and Buddy.
Welcome back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, presented by Hercules Tire here on the Motor Racing Network. Kyle Rickey, Buddy Long, gearing up for the Icebreaker in just over a week from now. I can't wait. I wish you could come.
No, I really do too. Haven't had a chance. You took me out there just to see the grounds. I've been to Stafford to watch a race and have not seen Thompson. Been in the clubhouse, had lunch with you, but that's about it. But you got to get up there. That's a bucket list item.
Absolutely. Going to be fun next week. But this coming weekend, we have some more NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series short tracks that are opening up. I count 6. I don't know if my count is right, but Kern County Raceway, they have their first NASCAR Wheel and All-American program. Colorado National Speedway has their first program of the year. Lebanon I-44 in Missouri, I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska, Columbus Motor Speedway in Ohio, and Grandview Speedway in Pennsylvania. Do I have them all?
You have pretty much all of them. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Columbus has their doorbuster for late models. Grandview with the 358 mods. Bruce and Teresa Rogers, again, still recovering from their injuries from an accident prior to Budweiser, or I should say Daytona Speed Weeks. I still put the sponsors in there, and they're not in there. But the best of them. Good to see David Mayhew. He missed the opener at Auburndale Speedway. He will be in the field for Kern County's K&N Pro Series West race this upcoming weekend. Driver that finished behind Dalton Sargent a year ago. He and Noah Gragson had very good runs out there last year, and they should be 2 of the heavy favorites this weekend.
Can anybody beat Todd Gilliland?
I'm sure they can, but it's going to take an act of God.
Because Todd, let's see, he won first start last year in Phoenix, won the season opener for both series this year. So
yeah, it's going to be tough. Kern County is going to be another one that he's going to be hard to beat everywhere he goes.
Want to thank everybody for joining us on the show here today. Justin Haley, Ted Christopher, and Jeff Fuller. For Robbie Mays and Craig Moore. Buddy Long, I'm Kyle Rickey. We'll see you back here next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network and MRN.com every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time.
This has been NASCAR Coast to Coast with MRN short track experts Kyle Rickey and Buddy Long. Tune in next Wednesday at noon at MRN.com for more talk from NASCAR home tracks and touring series. NASCAR Coast to Coast is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.